Good on Liberal Senator Alex Antic. He's put a private member's bill to Parliament designed to ban doctors and psychiatrists from engaging in gender therapy with minors. The ban would stop doctors administering puberty blockers or conducting gender reassignment surgery, except in very rare circumstances. I asked Senator Antic how this would work.
So this relates only to under-18s, and it would set up a regime whereby that would become a matter for the Health Minister to refer off to the various regulatory bodies, and there would be consequences for that medical practitioner's or healthcare practitioner's registration. So it's not designed as a criminal sanction, but it's designed to capture that. It's also designed to prohibit the expenditure of Commonwealth money on clinics that perform these sort of procedures and prescribe these drugs, because we know now that there is a building crisis of so-called detransitioners. We've seen that through some work that was done on Channel 7 with a Spotlight program, which was extremely difficult to watch. My feeling is that in 10 years' time, people are going to be saying, how do we not jump on this earlier? We've got to jump on it now, and we've got to take action.
Look, it makes a lot of sense, Alex, because obviously everybody wants any child, any teenager who has difficulties here to get the best possible care and attention. But medical intervention before they're adults does seem to be going too far, except in the most extreme circumstances. You mentioned that Spotlight reporting. They interviewed some young adults who already regretted their sexual reorientation. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
Yeah.
So that just got in my head that, this is a thing you can do. It's really easy. You can just change gender. It's no worries. I was totally lied to, even by doctors. I was sold this thing that isn't possible.
I was just looking for a sense of belonging. And then it's like, if you do transition, it's like, everyone gives you so much love and attention and stuff. It's like,
Yeah, it's harrowing to watch, Senator Alex Antic, but your bill wouldn't prevent this sort of treatment from consenting adults later on, or in extreme circumstances for teenagers. But of course, it's going to delay for that full adult consent, and just to make sure there's more caution exercised in the medical community.
Yeah, precisely, and it wouldn't stand in the way of genuine issues. There are some chromosomal issues which are genuine, recognised, and and can still take place under this regime. But we've got to remember, we don't let kids drink until they're 18. We don't let them vote until they're 18. We don't let them smoke until they're 16 in most states. And yet here we are allowing them to go down this path. There's just got to be some caution here. We've got to protect the kids and the system. This is very novel, very controversial treatment that seems to be creeping into the system. And I tell you, this is a litigation minefield building for the future. We've got to do something to step in.
All right, I just want to segue to another issue relating to gender issues. We've discussed it before on this program. It was a push by a lesbian group in Melbourne just to have a function for lesbians born female. In other words, only women, biological women who are lesbians, keeping transgender or biological male lesbians out of their event. Here's what your colleague, Senator Claire Chandler, said on this program a couple of months back.
We just need to get back to basics here. Men are men, women are women, and there's nothing wrong with women being able to have their own events and have their own services and spaces.
Early last month, in fact, we've got a ruling on this now from the Human Rights Commission. You can see this newspaper headline here, where this the Lesbian Action Group has lost its bid to exclude trans women from the event. So you can't keep biological men out of your lesbian event. And cop this quote from the Commission, the Australian Human Rights Commission. The Commissioner submits that the word sex is not a biological concept. I mean, give me a break, Senator. Sex is obviously a biological concept.
Well, this used to be the way around this, for a few years ago, that gender was the one that was, non-binary. You could manipulate that, and you could be whatever gender you wanted, any 400,000 of them or whatever it was. But sex was always, I think, universally agreed to be a pretty binary concept. Well, it looks like that's not the case anymore, and the battlefield has changed. And I mean, as Senator Chandler quite rightly points out, the Sex Discrimination Act no longer has a definition of man or woman in it. I think this shows, in one sense, how far we've come and how far we've allowed the fort to be eroded in this country, that this is even allowable. Look, you won't get a person that's more lacking in spirit of getting interventionalist in these sorts of things, but this has got to be fixed at legislative level so that there are definitions for women in these various pieces of legislation, so that we don't get these perverse and strange outcomes. I mean, you really have a lesbian event now that can be attended by biological men. I just don't know where to be staggered. I don't know which way is up and which way is down on this anymore. And, sometimes that is the point. It becomes deliberately confused and muddied. And this is one of those instances, as far as I'm concerned.
Look, it is just madness. The radical left, in some issues, they say follow the science. In this issue, they say just abandon the science and make it up as you go along. Thanks so much for joining us again, Senator.
Thanks, Chris. Good on you.